Kimberly Harshaw grew up in Connecticut and then attended Thames Valley State Technical College for an associate's degree in nuclear engineering. She got her bachelor's degree at the University of Lowell and then went to MIT on a full scholarship for her master's degree in nuclear engineering. She was a nuclear engineer for 10 years, and then she went to law school at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. I interviewed Ms. Harshaw because she is an alumni at MIT, one of the most prestigious engineering schools in the country, and her transition from being an engineer to being a lawyer. I began the interview with asking her whether her experience at a graduate school was worth the time and cost. Then I asked her about her transition from being an engineer to being a lawyer.
I think it depends on what you want to do. I'm not sure that just having a master's degree is all that helpful. If I was making the decision, I would go for a PhD if I was doing it all over again. I don't know that a master's degree is all that helpful. I think you can probably get the same job with a bachelor's degree as a master's degree, but you can do a lot more with a PhD. You can be called doctor. You can work at a laboratory and do research. I think you can do a lot more with a PhD. I think that makes a bigger difference than just getting a master's degree. I think it's worth the cost and the time to get a PhD. I mean, what else are you going to do? It's only 4 years out of your life. 4 extra years. It's not a lot of time. You're still a youngster, and you got many, many, many more years of your life to work after that. So I spent a lot of time thinking about what do I really want to do with my life once I got to work, and I decided I wanted to be a lawyer. And when I went to be a lawyer, I didn't know what kind of a lawyer I wanted to be. I just knew I wanted to learn something different, something non-technical. And I really enjoyed law school. Most of the other people that were there in law school with me were not much older than you, and I was in my 30s. And they were all stressed out about it and didn't really appreciate the education just for the sheer fun of learning new things, whereas I just enjoyed learning all the different topics. But ultimately, I ended up coming out of law school and going back into nuclear energy, and so now I'm a nuclear lawyer, and I really enjoy doing that because it lets me still use all the knowledge that I gained from being a nuclear engineer and working in the nuclear industry, but it lets me do it in a different way because I do a lot of research, which I really enjoy doing research. I like learning new things. So every day I have a new issue or new problem or something that I have never faced before, and I just have to go start researching and finding the answers. And generally, unlike with science, when you're doing legal work, there's not an answer. It's not X plus Y equals Z. It could equal Z, it could equal something else. So it's fun to research. I like research, and other people might not, but I spend a lot of time, Googling stuff and writing stuff and arguing, and I really like that. The challenging part for engineers being lawyers is writing. Engineers are not known for being good writers. And even the way they teach you to write in technical writing is very different than the way they teach you to write in other kinds of writing. And so after you've been writing in that style, that technical style, and you go to law school or you go get your job as a lawyer, the other non-technical people hate your writing. So something you got to change. the first semester of law school, you go the whole semester and you don't take any exams until the end. You get one exam and that's your whole grade. And that's it. Luckily, the first semester they gave us practice exams just so we would know what we were in for when that one exam came. And when I did the practice exams, I didn't do very well. And I figured out the reason I didn't do very well is because as an engineer, you think there's only one answer and this is what it is. And you don't see that there's all these other arguments to something. And so law school exams are pretty much essays. And I would say, here's the answer. And I wouldn't explain my rationale, or I wouldn't investigate any of the other possible solutions. I wouldn't say, well, here's what somebody else might think. Here's another argument. So I got 50% of the points on everything. So I had to learn that you have to explain your logic every step of the way, and you have to explain somebody else's perspective, why they might feel that way and why they're not right. So you can't just say why you're right. You got to say, and here's some other perspective, and here's why it's not right. So it's not like a black and white equation. There's a lot of gray. You pay a lot of money to go to college, and you might not make that much money when you get out, and then you might be in debt for a long time. But I just think the inherent value of education, even if I never had a job, I just think there's something inherently valuable about being more educated. So I don't think you can necessarily measure it against the amount of money that you make when you get out. I just think you're a better person by being somewhere and learning about so many different things and being with different people and learning different cultures, and there's just something inherently valuable to it. So to me, it's definitely worth the cost. It might be teaching you how to think, how to problem solve, and how to attack problems. And it's also providing you with a broad set of skills that you will build on once you specialize in your job. Get your PhD. Get your PhD.
After my interview with Ms. Harshaw, I realized that if I decide to go to graduate school, I should aim to get a PhD, since it's only 4 more years out of my entire life. The interview has opened my mind to view problems from many different perspectives, and there are always multiple ways of finding an answer. Just like when she said, it's not a black and white equation. There's a lot of gray. Some questions I regret not asking include, did the environment at MIT differ from the environment at Lowell? Did your previous education background help with law school, or did you have to start from scratch? Overall, what I obtained from the interview is that going to school should not be about making the most money once you're out, but it should be about learning as much as you can.